Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Baltimore guys. It's been a long hiatus, but your boy's been busy, your boy's been working. But we're back for season 2, and joining me today is the founder of the Tendea Family.
That's right.
You know, the one and only. You've seen him on TEDx. You've seen him on Why I'm Vegan. The one and only Eiljah Miles. Eiljah, how you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you for joining me, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me, man, you know, your Tendea Family, your mission is to strengthen the Black community mentally, physically, spiritually, and most importantly, economically.
That's right.
In Baltimore, Maryland, man. Tell me, how did that start for you?
It started in 2015, around and after the Freddie Gray uprising. And basically, around that time, I was still finding myself and figuring stuff out. But I started thinking like, yo, it's not enough to just read books, because I was reading a lot of books, watching Malcolm X, reading Marcus Garvey. It's not enough just to read all this stuff. I was like, stuff got to be applied. And I was like, I was making speeches like TEDx. I was going across the country speaking in different places. And I was like, though speaking make me feel good and it's an impactful, my speaking ain't enough. I have to organize and have a group of people and we all do action. And so that's what motivated me. It really was out of a dark place. Like I was really getting depressed on them times because I was like, yo, you speaking and people clapping for you, but you're not making no real change in the city that you love. And so I created Tendea Family, and we had the goals of focusing on changing the Black community. And I was like, I knew up front that, yo, protesting ain't going to do it. Marching ain't going to do it. It's organization that's going to do it, and organizing around issues that really change stuff. So we organized around building up the Black community when it comes to knowledge of self, like teaching our people and learning ourselves who we are as a people, because identity matters. We organized ourselves around and building Black businesses so that we can hire Black people, not just tell drug dealers, get off the corner, stay off the corner, or tell people that's coming out of jail, don't go back to the streets. We wanted to put ourselves in a power position to be able to hire our own people. And then also we organize ourselves around health and fitness, because Black people are dying from diabetes, dying from high blood pressure, dying from all these health issues. And we said we got to get fit. So that's where it came from. It's like seeing what was going on with my people during that time with the Freddie Gray uprisings and seeing the general conditions of Baltimore City and saying, yo, something has to be done. That's where Tendea came from.
So I watched you during your TEDx talk. Great job on that. You did it when you were young.
Yeah.
And, you know, the first thing you talked about is life growing up for you. You're the youngest of 5.
Yeah.
So what was life growing up for you from Baltimore? Because, you know, the both of us were from Baltimore.
Yeah.
And our upbringing might have been different, but surprisingly enough, you and I are trying to do essentially the same thing.
That's right.
But for some people, it doesn't happen that way. So what was upbringing, household like for you?
So like you said, man, I'm the youngest. I got 4 brothers, 1 sister. 3 brothers, 1 sister, and I'm the youngest. And basically, I lived for like the first 15 years of my life. I lived over East Baltimore, down the hill, so on Monument Street, Glover and Monument, by Northeast Market, by Johns Hopkins. And really, I was just like a regular Black kid in the hood. Not like, I wasn't a big tough drug dealer. I wasn't like a dirt bike rider, but I was a regular Black kid. Didn't stay in the house. I was outside playing with friends all the time. But it was just a crazy situation. I felt like I was born in a war zone. And I remember police brutality vividly. I remember drug dealing. I remember all of that stuff. And at first I thought it was normal, because you don't know nothing else. You know, fish in water, you don't understand the water, you don't comprehend the water. But when I started going different places and experiencing different things, I'm like, yo, this not normal. It's crazy stuff happening in my community that's and the police is taking advantage of us. They're not protecting and serving us. And the situations that we live in is just terrible. So I grew up, I'm the second person in my family to graduate from high school, and I'm gonna be the first to graduate from college. And growing up, I seen like my brothers in and out of jail, my mother, you know what I mean? She just got out and she's staying out it was just crazy. But really what motivated me was different mentors and teachers that I had while I was growing up. And so it was teachers and mentors that was like, yo, you black, and this is what it means to be black. It was mentors and teachers that taught me about Malcolm X, taught me about Marcus Garvey, that was teaching me what it means to be a black man. Because when I would go to school, I would complain about my community. I would complain about East Baltimore and say, yo, it's crazy. People killing people, that's whack. And my mentors would be like, so what you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Not just complain and cry. What are you gonna do about it? And so my upbringing, I wouldn't say it's any different from anybody else in Baltimore City. I wouldn't say it's a sob story, but it's the average story of a regular Baltimore City kid. But I'm just a Baltimore City kid that's saying that, yo, I want to do something about the situation instead of accepting it as normal still.
Yeah, because you had mentors that challenged you. And I can say for a fact, like for me, my father growing up, there was times where he challenged me as to, instead of complaining about a problem, why don't you find a way to fix it?
Yeah.
And that's the big thing, especially for entrepreneurs. Yeah. People are like, well, how the best thing you can do as an entrepreneur is solve a problem. And that's usually the start of your success. If you're a problem solver, people are going to love you. Yeah. And I want you to talk about how, for our culture today, and you're seeing the problems that, we need to solve. Granted, there is a lot of issues that's going on. You brought up police brutality, but the issues of us killing each other, they had the protest in Chicago for that cop who had shot the young black kid, but just the weekend prior, there were 74 shootings that weekend. So can you elaborate how we need to first look at ourselves as a people and what we need to do to unite before we can go and say, hey, we need these issues solved, Yeah,
I think when it comes to us killing us, I think it's such a hard problem to solve that it's easier sometimes to focus on the establishment and focus on the police department, because the police department, they're accountable to somebody. You can go to the police department and protest the police department, and then the mayor's going to do something about it, the governor's going to do something about it, police chief going to do something about it. But with us killing us, it's like they are the people that's the young boys that's on the street that's killing other black boys. They're not accountable to nobody. You can't go and say, hey, stop, you know what I mean? Because it just won't work. And our problem with us killing us is so much more complicated, but it is a problem that we need to focus on. And I think that's when it comes to the 21st century, 2018, that's the new issues we got to deal with. We do got to look inward and say, how can we get black boys and black girls from killing each other? And the way that Tendea presents that we can do that is that, one, you have to build an economic base so that the street reasons why people are killing people is null and void. So, for example, if you build in corporations and businesses and putting black people on their feet, putting black people on, then there's no reason why this person has to sell drugs. There's no reason why this person has to rob somebody. So that's what Tendea is about. Tendea is about building up businesses, building up an economic base so that we can really compete with the rest of the world. Because it's no reason that in every major city in America, when it comes to the black community, that the only people that's not making legal money in the black community is black people. So you got the Asians that's selling us chicken, you got the Arabs that's selling us gas, that's selling us coffee, but black people is hustling and bustling in their neighborhood. So with us, with black people, we have to say, yo, what is the root problems for why young boys sell drugs? What's the root problems for why they killing each other? And let's get to those. And I think it comes with economic deprivation. I think it comes with a lack of knowledge of self. Striving to be a real nigga when you never was a nigga. And I think when we deal with those problems and build up an economic base in our community and reshift what it means to be a black man, then we can see a change in our community. But I think the successful black people that have made it out the hood, quote unquote, have to begin to come back to the black community and also build up the black community. Because inside the black community, inside these hoods, it's a cultural issue also. And that can't be fixed with money. You got to be on the ground, shifting the culture, interacting with people. You can't just know little Ray Ray that got killed. I mean, you can't just see little Ray Ray on Murder Inc. Baltimore that got killed. You have to live on that block, know that person, go to that candlelight visual. And that's a cultural thing. That's a interacting thing. That's a us being unified thing like you talking about. And I think that's some of the things that need to start happening for this problem to be fixed. And Tendea is just taking a step forward and doing some of that.
Now, how do you motivate, to change shift the mentality from that? For example, we were talking about the business aspect, and how the Asian people, as far as for food, they have their buffets, packed with black people in there. You have the hair salons, or the people buying hair from Asian people. I don't know if you remember that thing where the Asian dude threw out the black chick, and I think he hit her or whatever. Black men went out there to protest. Boycott. And my man came out and said, half off. And they flew in there in the bush, and you're just like, wait a minute.
That was sad.
What are y'all doing? Like, this would be the perfect time to do that. And now the black Asian barbershops that are opening up.
That's happening.
And now they cutting for $10, and they don't want to go and pay the regular barbershop for $20. It's like, it's like, what do y'all do? How do you fight against that mentality, as you were saying?
When it comes to that mentality, see, black people, we do suffer from self-hatred. So we do hate ourselves. And we also suffer from another thing that is politically incorrect to talk about. We too universal. So we make universal answers to black problems. So we make minority answers to black problems. Right. Black people have to build more, the way you come at that mindset is black people have to build more of a race-first mindset. Because if we build a race-first mindset and a race-first value system, then it don't matter that the Koreans or the Asians is cutting hair for $10. You're still going to go to the black spot because you have a race-versus value system that I support black because black supports me. And also the way you change that mindset is black businesses have to change what motivates them. So we got black people that's in business, but those black people sometimes that's in business are not motivated to help black people. They're motivated by profit. And so it's no difference if it's an Asian or a black person if you're just motivated by profit. So what we need is black entrepreneurs that are in business, that have brick and mortar shops, that are motivated to work harder in business to help the black community. Because what happens is if that black business say, I'm in business to help the black community, then you buy my products, I'm funneling that money back into the community. I'm investing into the schools in my community. I'm investing into the homes. I'm investing into the children. I'm doing give backs. Then it don't matter what business is competing with that black business. All the black people are going to support that business because that business supports them. And so I think it's a race-first mindset that has to come into play where black people learn that you have to support black people. And I think the only way that you could do that is by the successful black people or striving to be successful black people showing what support looks like. And so I think black people that are striving to be whatever you are, that are talented, that are gifted, have to understand that you have an obligation, a responsibility to the black community and act that out. And then if we keep doing that, then the people will understand that if they have an obligation to me, then I have an obligation to them. They're funneling money back into the black community. I have an obligation to shop with them. And we keep that process going. But I think our value system is all messed up. It's like we don't see race. You know what I mean? And I think that's a result of a whole lot of things. But I think it's to our detriment that we don't see race in 2018 because if you don't see race, then you don't see the difference between shopping with the Asian and shopping with the black person. It's all the same to you.
So can we expand upon that as well, as you were saying, is funneling money back into the community? Because let's talk about the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
We have the rappers, you have NFL players, NBA players, etc. that we look to LeBrons and everything. And I'm not trying to knock LeBron at all because he's a great guy, building that school, doing everything. But at the end of the day, he's still playing for somebody, for a team he doesn't own.
That's right.
So as much we want, as the announcers and everything might be throwing out, oh, LeBron, he's in charge of everything. Someone still owns that team. It's not him. Yeah. And at the end of the day, someone owned the Cleveland Browns. Yeah. Somebody owned the Miami Heat where he was at. He still had to answer to somebody. As much as we want to put out that, mantra that he was, the big guy in town. He still owned. He was still an employee to somebody. Yeah. And I think the problem with our community is that we think that the only way to get out and be successful is to be entertainers. Yeah. And we need. Is there a way that we can change that mentality of promoting more people? Like you have Michael Eric Dyson. Yeah. You have I forgot his name. He's a philosopher who's the science guy? Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, yep. Those kind of people, putting them in the forefront as, this is what we can do. And if black people look at their history, they'll realize that a lot of black people have contributed to what we have today in society as a whole in America. And it wasn't just football, basketball, or whatever.
I think all of this that you're talking about, the entertainment industry being a big boom and a big focus right now, where we talk about LeBron, we talk about all these people more than we probably did back in the day, is because right now when it comes to the black community, it's a vacuum in black leadership. We don't have big national leaders like we had before, where you had Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, where you had to choose between two. I remember I was watching a Malcolm X interview. And Malcolm X, when Dick Gregory came out, Malcolm X was laughing because Dick Gregory had started speaking out, and Malcolm X was like, "In what community do we pay a comedian any mind when they try to talk about serious issues?" Yeah, I know that interview. Yeah, which is a deep thing. But now it's so common, it would be nobody that would even question something like that. And like I said, I think it's a vacuum of leadership. I think what we really need to focus on when it comes to serious, who we gonna follow, is black people that are intellectual, that are smart, but have the best interests of black people in their heart. Black people whose sole goal is to improve the black community. Those are the people that we should line up and follow. Those are the people that we should look up to. So if that presents itself and Michael Eric Dyson or these political commentators, if they'll present, then they definitely deserve a highlight. But if any black person, whether they be an entertainer, a political commentator, a rapper, a singer, a dancer, if any black person has no responsibility to the black community, has nothing in their mind about improving the black community or helping black people get forward, they don't deserve any of our attention at all. And I think that's what we're missing. But I think right now it's such a vacuum of leadership. When it comes to the black community, it's nobody talking black. It's nobody talking about what needs to be done for the black community. It's not a lot of organizations out here that's really doing work to improve our condition like it was back in the day. And I think we as a generation of black people have to fill that vacuum before it gets too far. Because when we talk about who our kids is following, we following the rappers, we following the singers, we following the dancers. And if that keeps going on, us as a people will probably cease to exist because of the stuff that's being promoted in the rap. And football is not going to save our community. Basketball is not going to save our community. It's race leaders that's going to save our community. It's people that have a plan and a vision for where our community is going to go next, that's going to build up and change our community. And those are the people that need to be highlighted. It's an organization out of Detroit called New Era Detroit. Mm-hmm. I love them. You know what I'm saying? I love them because that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's more organizations in Baltimore City. It's an organization, other than Tendea, it's an organization called PLM, Pan-African Liberation Movement. Mm-hmm. They do good work under the leadership of Bob Imhotep. They do good work. So it's organizations out here, but ever since the Black Panther Party, those organizations, those leaders, they don't get media attention. Maybe it's, you know what I mean, maybe it's conspiracy, but they don't get media attention, which is why they stay under the radar. But in my opinion, it's those types of efforts and those types of organizations that have to be promoted, because really, none of us are going to get paid for promoting Beyonce or Future or LeBron, but promoting a person like Malcolm X or promoting a person like Marcus Garvey employed like 1 million black people during his time period because of his organization. Elijah Muhammad was the top black businessman in America during his time period because of what the Nation of Islam doing. So promoting a black leader that has in his heart the condition of black people and improving that, you can definitely see a change in the black community. But LeBron, he's not race first. You know what I mean? He's a good basketball player, dope basketball player, probably one of the best of his time, but he's not race first. And so no matter how much we promote him, it won't change anything. It won't change anything.
I also want to stay on the movement aspect as far as promotion. Like, for example, you had the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
And especially that took off here in Baltimore with the Freddie Gray situation. Yeah. And to me, in my opinion, it just called into question, like I was saying earlier, how we're marching in the streets telling people Black Lives Matter. Well, do they matter to us, though? Yeah. Like, you can't go marching in there saying Black Lives Matter. Or I'm walking with a guy, he's saying Black Lives Matter. It's like, you just shot somebody yesterday. I was in your neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't do what you want, but you can't be coming here telling me that Black Lives, you see how now Black Lives Matter, you go over here shooting somebody. Mm-hmm. Another thing with the Colin Kaepernick situation, he took the knee, to put in protest of police brutality and everything. Then Nike comes out and doing this whole,
it was weird.
Yeah, but then here you got Nick Cannon buying out a whole Nike store for socks to give the homeless people. Look what Nick Cannon's doing. We're all like, oh yeah, buy Nike. Man, you putting money in this dude's pocket.
Yeah.
You're not putting money. It's not supporting the cause. Yeah. It's a freaking ploy. And that's what, for example, with Black Panther, when it first came out.
Yeah.
And you were talking about as far as image. That image was, oh, look, black people, we strong, Wakanda forever, everything. Yeah. Black Panther was created by Stan Lee, and I forget his other co-creator for it. They're white guys.
That's right.
No offense to them, but you're white guys. And then Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
They're the ones getting the money. It's not like we spent all this money, gave all this money to Black Panther, and then our community started building up and becoming successful. No. You know what I mean? And I want you to, if you could, just what's your interaction like with people when you try and bring up these issues? Are you seeing like a resentment, or is it like a fight back, or has it been more open, like, hey, I understand what this guy's trying to say? Because for me, sometimes when you try and talk to our people to bring up stuff, it's you become the freaking shunned out. You're the crazy one.
Yeah. So sometimes it is some pushback, but I expect pushback because just by studying and reading the books and learning and watching my own people, I'm aware of what the system, I'm aware of what our condition is, like mental condition is. And so we've been taught in a universal, everybody's all the same, nothing, everything is normal, go on with your life, go get money, get out the hood. So I know we've been taught this way all our whole lives. So when I talk to people, I expect that to come out their mouth. So really, it's a long game when it comes to our own people. It's like when you're talking to black people, you gotta play the long game, because you gotta understand that you've been taught to be anti your own race your whole life, through media, through school, through your neighborhood, through everything. Everything is bombarding you with that. It's the best advertisement ever. So I have gotten pushback, but I have also gotten a lot of support, because I think sometimes us that are I don't even like using this word, us that are so-called conscious,
or woke, or
whatever you want to call it, we don't explain well. I think it's because what Malcolm said, you know what I mean? Be careful what you know, because you got to remember the time when you didn't know. So like, I think we're not patient enough sometimes with our people, understanding that it was a time that you didn't know. So you got to be patient with other people and understand that it's going to take a minute for them to catch on. And so really it's about building relationship and building a long game and explaining your points well. And I don't think we do that enough. Explain like exactly the condition right now. Instead of like, sometimes we use cliche phrases and they disagree with the phrase because we just didn't explain it well. So if I'm gonna tell a black person that, yo, we need to build black businesses, it's like, why can't we just, like, I'll say we need to build up, like I made a post of saying that we need to be nonviolent with other, black people need to be nonviolent with other black people. It's like, why can't we be nonviolent with all people? Of course we could be nonviolent with all people. But listening. Yeah, you know what I mean? But people say that. Of course we can be nonviolent with all people, but our focus right now as black people has to be on black people, because when you look in every major city in America, it's black people that are hurting other black people, and that has to stop. So it has to be, I have to say black people, but people don't understand that you have to explain it, and not just once, you have to explain it from different angles so that they get it and be like, and they can't fight it. So really it's mental warfare when you engaging with black people that are mentally sick, you know what I mean? That are conditioned to hate themselves and conditioned to disagree with you. You engaging in a mental fight, and you have to debate them, and not debate them to crush them, but debate them so that they can come out like, even though, you know what I mean, I still verbally saying I disagree because my pride, I get what he's saying.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think it's really patience, explaining your points well,
and putting pride to the side.
And putting pride to the side.
I want to get your opinion on good old Kanye West when, you know, he first, I want to elaborate on when you had first earlier brought up how when you publicly speak, you say you kind of felt depressed. Yeah. Was there any form of mental illness or mental depression that you faced? And was there ways that you overcame that? Like, how did you overcome that?
Really, I found I overcame it by just action. The less I focused on myself, the better I felt. Because really, sometimes when people are depressed or sometimes people are down, it's because it's really partially because of the condition that our people is in, or the personal condition that you living in right now, like that your personal life is in. But it's also because sometimes you be like, yo, life don't got no purpose, yo. And so when I started stepping into my purpose and focusing more on my people, focusing more on my condition that my people is in, I felt better. I think, and when I really cross-reference what I'm going through now that's making me depressed, when I cross-reference that with what my people have gone through, it really made me feel bad that I felt depressed. Like, I'm like, yo, how dare I feel depressed when my people was picking cotton for years, but some people was born slaves and died slaves. You know what I mean? How dare I feel depressed, or how dare I feel bad for myself? I have to get up and work like they worked. You know what I mean? And so that's really what made me feel better, is really focusing and giving myself completely to purpose. Because I understand that when it comes to my life, I probably live like another 80 years tops. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm gonna die off. Like, but what really lives on is what I do for my people. Because whether I already set that I'm born, I'm gonna die. But our people, black people that live in America, we have to go on. We have to persist. We have to grow and improve. Our ancestors have given too much for us to be here. So that's what I'm about. And the more I've given myself over to that, the better I feel. And still daily, I give myself more and more to the mission. And I feel a certain type of liberation. I think in most world religions, they talk about that when it comes to enlightenment and nirvana and all that type of thing. It's like, is living a selfless life. When you look at Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, these is people that have given themselves over to the mission of our people, the cause of our people, and it felt a certain type of liberation because of it. And that's what I attempt to do every day. And I swear, dead serious, that's really what makes me feel better, because it's purpose. It's purpose. And I think some people, kids, black kids, they struggle with purpose. And so they find themselves depressed. Like, what I'm going to do with life? I'm not good at nothing. I don't have no mission. I don't have no purpose. And it's really when you give yourself to the cause and the purpose of our people more and more and more, you don't even think about much else. You don't think about, I can't pay my bills. It's like you think about those things, but they become minute.
Right.
You know what I mean? When it comes to the grand scheme of your people group.
So going back, so Kanye, he discussed how he talked about depression, how he, in the hospital, he was taking the one opioid and ended up taking freaking 8 when he got out of there. He got into a real big depression. But then he brought up the topic of the whole slave mentality that brought huge uproar, a huge fight back. But I wanted to get your opinion on what he had said, because I had done a podcast on it with my co-host Ryan.
Okay.
And the main thing that we were saying is that, as we were discussing earlier, like with the Kaepernick situation, say he doesn't sign with Nike, are you going to invest in his cause as far as helping with the black community? If Nike wasn't even behind him at all, would you go and waste your money buying all these Nike products? Because Nike all of a sudden says, we're behind Kaepernick for this issue, or spending money at a Chinese hair salon, et cetera. I just want to get your opinion on what you got out of it as far as the whole slave mentality thing, and do you think that's still relevant today?
What comment you talking about? When he said slavery was a choice? Which one?
I guess, yeah, that aspect of it.
Well, I thought the original comment, I thought it was very disrespectful to say, just because I know the history too much. I thought it was very disrespectful to say. From what he said after that, he said that he didn't mean it like that, but I thought out of his mouth it was very disrespectful to say.
But I guess what you're saying as far as you had to explain it first.
But I think it's some things that, it's kind of like if we was Jews, you just don't make comments about the Holocaust. You just don't play with the Holocaust, like, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't make jokes about it, you don't play with it, because that's something that our people were forced to go through, and you have no idea what that's like. So don't play with that. And I think when it comes to black people, we don't hold ourselves sacred enough, or hold our ancestors, our history sacred enough. We have to start holding it sacred, where that it's a red flag if anybody even start going into that territory. And for me, slavery is one of them things. You just don't go there. But when it comes to a slave mindset, I'm not going to attach it to Kanye, but I can talk about a slave mindset. I think we do still suffer from a slave mindset, and I think it's inherited by just passed down, just by living in a society. But when it comes to the slave mindset, I think us that know and us that claim to know, or you know what I mean, we have to, if we think we know, we have the responsibility of raising up the people that don't know. But I think sometimes the people that know hate the people that don't know. They despise, they look down upon the people that don't know. And I think that's also a part of the slave mindset. Even when people act that out, it's divide and conquer. It's like,
oldest trick in the book.
Yeah, and we divide ourselves, because it's like, I know more than you know about history. I know more than you know about our situation, and y'all dumb. Y'all following Kaepernick and this whole Nike thing. I wouldn't do that. I think it's our responsibility when we see stuff like that to not be like, y'all dumb. It's our responsibility to understand them in the same way when your child does something that's not the brightest, you try to understand them and help them out of that and say, yo, you don't put your shoes on like that way. You know what I mean? You put them on this way. And I think that's what we have to do with our own people, and have love and compassion so that we can lead people out of that situation. Because I think at the end of the day, we all we got. We in this boat together. And so whatever we have to do to raise all of us up, we have to do. And I think the slave mindset has to be overcame by both the woke and the unwoke, if you get what I mean.
I got you. Can we talk about how the media and how much they play a role in this black perception that's out there, and what we need to do as a people to fight that?
I think you're doing a good job right now. I think you working on your own media, and I think that's dope. I think other people groups, and we was talking about this earlier, I think other people groups have a stronghold on the media. And so even to get in contact with our people, we have to use their media. Have to go on social media, which they control. We have to go on their news stations, which they control. To get in contact, even our black media stations are not black. They just black hosts, but it's white owned. So I think the media is completely controlled by them. But I also think that to get back control of our perception over the media, inside the media, black people have to fight to build media stations, have to fight to build media outlets. And I also think just because we live in this age, we have to push positive images on the media that we do control. We don't control Facebook, we don't control Instagram, but we have Instagram accounts that can reach people. We have Facebook accounts that can reach people. That's powerful because you have the power to influence, you have the power to show people images and videos and all that. I think we have to use that positively and promote it and promote as much positive stuff as we can. So with us, we try to promote as many positive images and videos as we possibly can on social media because we're able to reach people, thousands upon thousands of people that we wouldn't otherwise reach. But I think in order for our perception in the media to change, black people like yourself that are getting in the media have to say, yo, I could work at Showtime, I could work at HBO, I could work for these big media outlets, but instead I'm gonna build something for the ground up, not for myself, but for my people, because my people need better representation. And if we don't represent ourselves, then the media will always control the identity and the image of black people because they have a stronghold on how we characterize. So Love and Hip Hop, Power, all these shows and stuff, they promote the images and we act it out. It's like, it's follow the leader. So they promote angry black woman, they promote thug black man.
Or that Dr. Phil snap with that chick saying she was white.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they bring Dr. Phil on The Breakfast Club. You know what I'm saying? So to ask him more about it. You know what I mean? Why is this? First of all, our sister had issues, but like, why she could go to Steve Harvey show? So like, why is Dr. Phil interviewing her? But with us, is like I said, black people that are in media, that's into that type of thing, because some people have a born skill with that. They have to fight to build media outlets for us, because without them, where would we be in another 100 years if white people keep control of the media that sends the messages to our kids? So,
right, like that quote from Malcolm X on how powerful the media is. You know, they can have innocent look guilty and the guilty look innocent. You know, that's crazy how easy they can do that. But let's talk about how you made a Why I'm Vegan video. Okay. That took off. And veganism, I tried it for about 6 months.
For real?
Yeah, I did. It was good. I enjoyed it. I honestly couldn't tell you what knocked me back. Like I'm half and half. Like there's some days where I'm just like, I'll go hit up Land of Kush.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But I just wanted you to expand about how the health of the black community needs to be important.
Health is definitely important. Most of the black communities in major cities are in food deserts. And food deserts are basically places where there's no fresh vegetables.
Malnutrition.
Yeah, there's no fresh vegetables. There's no fresh fruits. You just got corner stores. Mm-hmm. And so with them corner stores, it's just processed food, meat, chicken wings, cheese steaks. And you can survive, like, when it comes to, like, getting up every day, but your body is dying inside, and then you die early. So even though you beat the streets, you didn't die by getting shot, you didn't die by getting hit by a car, you dying at 50, or you on a cane at 50 because you got diabetes. And that's as a result of the way that we eat. But I think that when it comes to veganism and why I'm vegan, is because health has to become part of the black solution. So I don't care how long we've been eating soul food, health has to become part of the black solution, because we can't just say, I'm going to eat soul food and I'm going to eat all this crazy food because tradition, whatever we make cultural tradition for black people, has to be something that benefits black people. So we shouldn't make the worst foods for us traditional or cultural. We have to make the best foods for us traditional and cultural. And so that's what I became vegan for, to pave a new way for what it means to be black, what it means to be a black eater. And so the veganism is really not just also about being vegan, because there's a lot of processed foods, there's a lot of other stuff that's bad in veganism. It's about making sure that you're feeding your body good vegetables, good fruits, things that come from the earth, so that you can survive as long as possible. And you always, you know how I'm coming with it. You survive as long as possible for the sake of your people group. Because I believe that you're black, and if you are black, you are here to use your life and use your life energy to support and build up the black community as long as possible. So if you drop dead at 50 because you were eating bad and you knew you could have not ate bad, then you did our community a disservice, because you probably had grandkids and your grandkids needed you to be a grandpa or grandma, but you dropped dead at 50. You know what I'm saying? You need to stay here to 120 if you can, because our community needs you. Our community needs elders. And right now, when it comes to eldership, our elders, because of the crack epidemic, our elders, a lot of them are on drugs. A lot of them are dropping dead or got all these diseases. A lot of them are alcoholics. Not everybody, but this is the situation. And that's sad, because when it comes to the youth and the young adults, we need elders for guidance. Elders are supposed to guide us into the ways of how our people group is supposed to operate and what our mission is on our time here in this earth. So I became vegan and started eating better so that I could survive longer and live my life as best as possible to support my community.
Can you talk about too, as far as the needs for the youth? Because I mean, you're a young guy, and I've seen videos where you've gone and you've spoken to the youth and explaining how they need to treat black women, how they need to treat themselves as far as young men. But like I said, you're a younger guy, you know, so can you expand on how, although we need elders as far as for the wisdom, how young people still need young people as far as motivation? Yeah,
that's right. I think young black men, I think newly adult black men have an obligation to mentor and raise younger black men. I think we also do younger black men a disservice if we don't look back and reach and grab one. So I think when it comes to motivation, I think I do that because it's a responsibility I have to the youth. Even though I'm still a youth myself, I have a responsibility to say, younger people that are younger than me, this is the right way to go. Because when it comes to being black, everyone has, based on the relationships that you have with the different people in the black community, you have a responsibility to each person. So people that's younger than me, I have a responsibility to raise them up and be a good example for what it means to be a young black man to them. So I don't promote them having sex with a bunch of women in college. I don't promote them, man, go get them girls, go smoke that weed, go drink that drink, because I need you to be better than the generation that I'm already a part of. So I give you a message that say, man, I'm not doing all that stuff, so you can't do all that stuff. But even if I was doing all that stuff, you have to be better than all of us. And the motivation, I believe, motivating the youth is incumbent upon all people in my age group. In the 20s, the 20s, the 25s, is incumbent upon all of us, because our youth, without our guidance, they gonna follow Future, they gonna follow Lil Wayne, they gonna follow all these rappers and singers and dancers, and they gonna be perked up, they gonna be doing all this stuff if we don't step in and say, yo, this is the right way to go. So I do it just because it's obligation. I think it's all of our obligation, because some youth, they don't have parents, they don't have auntie, they don't have uncle, and so who's gonna raise them if we don't? Is it the TV that's gonna raise them? Fortnite ain't gonna raise them. So right. Us as a people have to say, man, I'm gonna reach back and grab you and teach you the way how to go.
Can you just in closing, talk about Tendea, how people can support you guys, and what are the plans for the future? Because I really hope, things take off for you.
Yeah. Okay, so just talk a little bit about Tendea at the end. So Tendea Family, just assuming you don't know anything, Tendea Family is an organization out of Baltimore City whose focus is to first build black businesses in the black community and hire our own people. You can find us on social media at Tendea Family, Tendea Family, all one word. But Tendea, right now we're doing community cleanups 9/11 every Saturday on a Saturday. If you want to come out, you can come out. We on North and Greenmount, 9/11 every Saturday. Mondays we do community workouts at Planet Fitness on the Alameda. I forget the exact address, but the Planet Fitness on the Alameda from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. community workouts of all ages. You can come out and we'll help work you out. But the future for Tendea is by spring, we want to open up our first smoothie shop. It's called the Fruit Creamery. Our first smoothie shop selling vegan, nutritious, delicious smoothies. And once we get our spot all finalized and all that, applications will be coming out to hire black youth, black people of all ages that would need a job, so we can start putting our people to work. So if you want to support Tendea, go on go on the Instagram page, go on the Facebook page, and please hit us up. DM us, tell us what you think, ask us any questions to learn more about it. Hit us up if you're interested in joining, because we definitely need all the support we can get. Tendea Family is an organization that is dedicated to the black community, and we're not just talkers, we're workers.
And the address for that Planet Fitness is 5660 the Alameda, Baltimore, Maryland, 21239 for anyone that's listening. So you guys can make sure to hit you up on Mondays, you said?
Yep, Mondays.
8
p.m. to 10 p.m.
8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eiljah, man, I can't thank you enough for coming on, man. I appreciate what you do, and I wish you the best, man.
Yeah.
Definitely going to link up again sometime soon.
Most definitely. Thanks
I appreciate
a lot,
it. Thank you guys for listening to the Baltimore Guys. We're back. Hope you enjoy. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to us so we can continue to bring you more great content. Take care, everyone.